This is Top Accolade Global News Updates. I am Soibifa Dagrich. Europe is increasingly facing bouts of heat so intense that the human body cannot cope. As climate change continues to raise temperatures, the EU's Copernicus Climate Monitoring Service and the World Meteorological Organization said on Monday. In a report on Europe's climate, Copernicus and the WMO noted last year's extreme conditions, including a July heat wave which pushed 41% of southern Europe into strong, very strong or extreme heat stress. The biggest area of Europe under such conditions in any day on record. Extreme heat poses particular health risks to outdoor workers, the elderly, and people with existing conditions like cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Part of Italy recorded 7% more deaths than normal last July, with victims including a 44-year-old man painting road markings in the northern town of Lodi who collapsed and died. Heat stress measures the impact that the environment has on the human body, combining factors like temperatures, humidity, and the body's response to establish a feel-like temperature. Parts of Spain, France, Italy, and Greece experienced up to 10 days of extreme heat stress in 2023, defined as a feel-like temperature of more than 46 degrees Celsius, at which point immediate action must be taken to avoid heat stroke and other health issues. Deaths related to heat have increased by around 30% in Europe in the last 20 years. The report said the EU's Environment Agency urged governments last month to prepare healthcare systems for climate change and called for EU rules to protect outdoor workers from extreme heat. Last year was the world's hottest since record began. Europe is the world's fastest warming continent. Greenhouse gas emissions were the biggest cause of last year's exceptional heat. The report said factors including the El Nino weather pattern also played a role. The heat fueled extreme weather including flooding, since the warmer atmosphere can hold more moisture, causing heavier downpours when it is released. At least 5 rockets were launched from Iraq's town of Zuma towards a U.S. military base in northeastern Syria on Sunday, 2 Iraqi security sources and a U.S. official said. The attack against U.S. forces is the first since early February, when Iranian-backed groups in Iraq stopped their attacks against U.S. troops. It comes a day after Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shah al-Sudani returned from a visit to the United States, where he met with President Joe Biden at the White House. A post on Telegram group affiliated with Kataib Hezbollah said armed factions in Iraq had decided to resume the attacks after a near 3-month pause after seeing little progress on talks to end the US-led military coalition in the country. Another popular Telegram group close to Kataib Hezbollah, Sibram News, later said there had been no official statement by the Iran-backed factions. A US official speaking on the condition of anonymity said more than 5 rockets were fired from Iraq towards troops of a coalition based in Rumaline, Syria, but no US response. Personnel were injured. The official referred to it as a failed rocket attack, but it was not immediately clear if the rockets had failed to hit the base or been destroyed before they reached. It was also not clear if the base was the target itself. Following that, the official said an aircraft from the US-led coalition in Iraq and Syria carried out a strike against the launcher. 2 security sources and a senior army official in Iraq said a small truck with a rocket launcher fixed on the back had been parked in Zuma, a town on the border with Syria. An army officer said the destroyed truck was seized for further investigation, and initial investigation showed it was destroyed by an airstrike. The Iraqi security media cell, an official body responsible for disseminating security information, said in a statement that Iraqi forces had launched a wide-ranging search and inspection operation targeting the perpetrators near the Syrian border, pledging to bring them to justice. Tesla has cut prices in a number of its major markets, including China and Germany, following price cuts in the United States as it grapples with falling sales and an intensifying price war for electric vehicles (EVs), especially against Chinese EVs. The price cuts come after Tesla, led by its billionaire CEO Elon Musk, reported this month that its global vehicle deliveries in the first quarter fell for the first time in nearly 4 years. Tesla, the EV market leader, ignited an EV price war over a year ago by aggressively cutting prices at the expense of profit margins. Tesla cut the starting price of the revamped Model 3 in China by 14,000 yuan, that is $1,930, to 231,900 yuan, that is $32,000. Its official website showed on Sunday. In Germany, the price of the Model Drive was trimmed to 40,990 euros, that is $43,670.75, from 42,990 euros, where the price had been since February. There were also price cuts in many other countries in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, a Tesla spokesperson said. US prices of the Model Y, Model X, and Model S vehicles were cut by $2,000 on Friday. On Saturday, Tesla slashed the price of its full self-driving driver assistant software to $8,000 from $12,000 in the United States. Tesla has been slow to refresh its aging models as high interest rates have sapped consumer appetite for big-ticket items, while rivals in China, the world's largest auto market, are rolling out cheaper models. Ecuador's President Daniel Noboa has won significant voter support for a raft of security measures he says will help him fight sharply increased crime. A quick vote tally by the National Electoral Council showed on Sunday the successful measures, including joint police-military patrols, the extradition of wanted criminals, and longer sentences of terrorism and murder, among other crimes, are intended to battle spiking violence that has made intentional headlines. Even as voting was taking place, authorities reported the death of a prison director in the country's western Namibe province and a possible riot attempt at a prison in Los Royes province. The SNAI Prisons Agency provided no detail about the death of Director Cosme Damain Parales, but said it was investigating. The quick count by the Electoral Council showed between 60% and 73% backing for the security-focused measures, including tougher guns control in areas close to prisons, no parole for crimes like kidnapping or terrorism financing, among others, and the military being able to use confiscated weapons. Cocaine smuggling gangs have expanded into every corner of Latin America over the last decade, turning once tranquil nations like Ecuador into new battlegrounds, security officials and diplomats say. In January, violence in Ecuador captured world attention when gunmen stormed a live television broadcast and scores of prison staff were taken hostage. Polling had suggested voters would likely support the measures put forward by Noboa, 36, in the 11 questions referendum, a measure which would allow workers to be contracted by the hour, which opponents say will benefit the rich and international companies, and another recognizing international arbitrage were rejected by voters, with more than 60% saying no. Some pollsters had warned that Noboa's recent implementation of daily hours long power cuts could dampen his support after dry weather hit the country's largest hydropower-based supplies, but the cuts seemed to have had little effect on voter backing. President Joe Biden on Monday will celebrate Earth Day by announcing $7 billion in grants for a residential solar project that will power nearly 1 million low-income households, the White House said. The announcement kicks off a week of activities aimed at touting the Biden administration record on climate change. Biden will review the funding during a trip to Prince William Forest Park in Triangle, Virginia, where he will also announce the application open to join the American Climate Corps, a program to prepare young people for jobs in climate-related industries. Young voters, who tend to be more concerned about climate change, are a key constituency for Biden, a Democrat, as he operates to face former President Donald Trump, a Republican, in the November presidential election. The $7 billion of solar funding through the Environmental Protection Agency's Solar for All grant competition was included in Biden's landmark climate change law, the Inflation Reduction Act. It will create 200,000 jobs and save households in the program about $400 a year, according to the White House. Grant recipients include 60 state and local agencies and non-profits with programs to help residents in poor communities go solar and save on their power bills. The winners include several organizations with plans to provide solar to Native American households in states including Alaska, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. Residential solar has long been rewarded as difficult to access for lower-income Americans because of its high upfront cost and because less affluent people tend to rent their homes or live in apartment buildings. The program is aligned with Biden's goal to direct 40% of federal clean energy investment benefits to disadvantaged communities. Biden will also announce that the American Climate Corps will launch a website, climatecorps.gov, where applicants will be able to see 2,000 open positions in 36 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico. The Climate Corps aimed to put more than 200,000 young people to work by training them, for example, to install solar panels, operate LiDAR cameras that detect methane emissions, and restore mangrove ecosystem, the White House said. That is the size of top accolade global news updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Monday.